Hi, my name is Marcelo Jimenez, and winter's coming to an end, and soon you may be one of the thousands that undertakes a journey that we all know as a road trip. Road trips can be filled with road hazards, unpredictable weather, and unpredictable drivers. Although we may not be able to control the weather around us and the drivers around us, there are some steps that you can take ahead of time to assure that you arrive to your destination safely. Your passengers will appreciate the fact that your car did not just break down halfway across the Mojave Desert.
Are we here yet? 6 hours? It took you 6 hours to get here? Oh, I'm hungry.
Okay, maybe not from that guy, but at least you know your car was good to go because you followed your pre-road trip maintenance checklist. Allow me to demonstrate the Jimenez certified 18-point pre-road trip maintenance checklist. By the end of this video, you will have a good understanding of what critical components of your vehicle should be inspected prior to your trip. It is recommended that you consult your owner's manual or certified auto technician if you are uncertain of where to locate the components or perform the tasks on your vehicle as discussed in this video. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull out the dipstick and check the oil level. Now, what I like to do is when you pull it out, is you want to wipe it off first really quick to make sure that you get any of the residue off there. And then you're going to put it back in so you can get a nice clean reading. Pull it back out. And what we're really looking for is the level. Okay? An old misconception is that the color of the oil will tell you when it's time to change it. But that's an old misconception. Nowadays, the color can change a little bit, but really what you should do is follow whatever your maintenance guide says. If it says 3,000 miles, change it 3,000 miles. If it's 5, 10, then do it that way. But really what we're looking for is just the level. If the level's too low, then you probably want to go to your auto parts store and buy a quart of oil and just fill it until you reach your desired level. So the next thing that we're going to check is the brake fluid level. Okay? Brake fluid is very important because if it's too low, you may not be able to stop. So I think we all probably need our brakes a little bit. Okay, so most often the brake fluid container is on the driver's side by the firewall. On most newer cars, the brake fluid container is clear so that you can see the actual level of the fluid. Okay? If your fluid is too low, contact your mechanic and see if they can top it off. The last thing you want is to not be able to stop. So the next thing that we're going to check is our wiper fluid. That's one of the things that, most of us don't probably ever really think about. But we should probably check that because when you're driving down the road, you might go through a big pile of bugs and need a little water to wash them off your window with. Okay, so here we're going to take a look and just make sure that we have enough fluid in here. If it's empty, then just pop your top open, fill it up, and you're good to go. The next thing that we're going to check are our belts and hoses. And really what you're looking for is any kind of abnormality. On the hoses, just make sure that there aren't any cracks, leaks, and on your belts, make sure that they're nice and tense. If you notice anything weird, contact your mechanic. Okay, so the next two things that we're going to talk about are your coolant level and your battery. Your coolant level, you want to make sure that it's not below the minimum and not above the maximum. Okay? As far as your battery goes, what you're looking for is any kind of corrosion or little kind of pile up of chemicals on this thing. You want to check both the connections, and if you do notice any kind of corrosion on there, you may want to contact your mechanic and have him clean it, because the last thing you want to do is be stranded on the side of the road because you can't get your car started. Now we're done looking at everything in the engine compartment, and let's move on to the next section. The next thing that we're going to look at are the windshield wipers. Okay. It's recommended that you change your windshield wipers about once a year, but if you live in a very harsh environment like the snow or even in the desert, you probably want to change them more frequently. Okay. So what we're going to look at here, what we're looking for are any kind of cracks or tears along the blade. If you see any kind of abnormality, head down to your local auto parts store and have them replaced. So the next thing that we're going to check is the tire tread. Okay? Most states recommend that you have at least 2/32 of an inch left of tire tread. Anything less than that and it's time to replace it. And if you're anything like me, you probably don't have a tire depth tread gauge. Okay, so what we're going to use instead is a good old penny. So what you're looking for is that the tread is at least covering Abe Lincoln's hair, or maybe even his entire face. Okay, if you see that your tread isn't covering his hair like that, then it's probably time to replace your tires. So now that we checked our tire depth, it's probably a good idea to check our tire pressure. All wheels have the recommended pounds per square inch listed on the side of the wheel well. It's usually in raised print, okay? Some might say that it's the maximum PSI, and some might say it's recommended. In either case, you probably want to stay within 5 PSIs of that level. Okay. In my hand, I have a little tire gauge that probably costs about $3 to $4. You can get really fancy with these gauges and spend $10 to $15 and get a digital one if that's your fancy. But this works just fine. All you want to do is you want to take your gauge and you want to put it on your tire really quickly to get your reading. The next thing that we're going to check are the rotors, and there are some honest telling signs that you may need new rotors. If you notice a wobbling or extreme vibrating sensation when you come to a stop, it's not a good thing. Get your rotors checked. From a visual standpoint, you just want to make sure that they're nice and shiny and clear. If you see any kind of ridges or anything like that, it's probably time to go talk to your mechanic. For the next item on our list, it's probably going to be a good idea to get a friend to help you out. That is, of course, unless you are faster than the speed of light. What we're going to do is we're going to look and verify that our brake lights, our turn signals, our parking lights, and our headlights are all working correctly. The next thing on our list is checking for a spare tire. The last thing you want to do is to be driving down the road, having a complete blowout, and going into your trunk and finding out that you don't even have a tire in there. It would probably be pretty important as well to check the tire pressure. Because again, you go in there, you pull it out, and you might find out that your tire is flat. And now you have a flat tire to replace a flat tire. Now that I made sure that the tire was actually in the trunk, the next thing I'm going to check for is to make sure that I actually have a jack. One time I was driving down the road and I had a blowout and I was forced to pull over to the side. I go into my trunk and I pull out my spare tire. I'm thinking I'm going to be just fine. I go in to pull out the jack and the jack was not in there. My sister had borrowed it and never put it back in the car. So there I was, stranded on the side with no cell phone because I decided to leave it at home that day. No way to lift my car and replace my tire. Luckily, the patrol came by, found me, and called roadside assistance. Check the jack. Another equally important item that you should have in your car is an emergency roadside kit. These kits can include flashlights, jumper cables, ponchos, flares, anything that could be useful to you should you have a breakdown on the side of the road. You can probably find these at your local retailers for fairly inexpensive, maybe anywhere in the range from about $20 to $50, depending on what you want in the kit. But don't leave home without it. And that wraps up our list for the trunk. Let's move on to the inside. One item I always take with me on the road is my GPS system. To me, that's probably the smartest buy I have made in a long time. Not only does it help you get to where you're going without getting lost, but it also helps you avoid the usual navigation systems that come with your car, like boyfriend, girlfriend, best friend, husband, wife, the usual.
The map says north. You're going the wrong way. We there yet? I'm hungry.
I'm telling you, navigation is a lost art. There's nothing worse than getting in an accident or getting pulled over. Reaching into your glove box, looking for that proof of insurance or your registration, and not having it in there. Nowadays, the fines for not having your proof of insurance in your car can range to about $800. So it's probably a good idea to make sure that those items are in your glove box. While you're digging around your glove box, it's probably a good idea to see if you have your owner's manual in there. The owner's manual is your friend. It tells you everything about your car, when maintenance should be done, what that check engine light means, and how to fix that clock. Nothing is more important than the safety of you and your loved ones as you embark on your journey, your road trip. Although you may not be able to anticipate an accident or an emergency, at least you'll know that you'll be better prepared to deal with whatever challenge is sent your way. For more information on road safety and auto maintenance, please visit our website at www. What's that?
What do you guys think you're doing with my car?
Dude,